Hi everyone, I'm Virginia Killmore and welcome to my studio. The card we're doing today has a very fun fold that was shown to me by my friend Pam. Meet again, the same person we did the card from yesterday. She participated in a swap and I was lucky enough to get one of her cards. So let's get started so I can show you the technique that she used on this card. Strawberries, the promise of late spring, early summer. My favorite thing to do is to pick strawberries. What about you? My grandbaby Cease loves to come over to my house and gets fresh strawberries from my garden. It's really a fun time for us. And what intrigued me about this card was this really fun fold. It all started with a card that Pam Mead shared with me. This is her card for the swap, and I thought, well, I'll change it up a little bit and make it my own. So I got out this stamp set that I got and the punch, which is a bundle. It cuts out a lot of the pieces in there. And then I also pulled out this old punch that I have, and I am using strawberry, I think it's, what is it called? I can't remember all of a sudden. Very Delightful Designer Series paper. Let's see if I can find it in my pile here. That's a free paper from Celebration. And you get that if you spend $100, you get the paper and a stamp set called Berry Blessings. I love that set. And I think I've already used it a couple times with you guys. There it is. Very delightful. Look at all the colors it coordinates with. And these are all the patterns. This is what's on the back of each one. And it's not just strawberries, blueberries. We used that last Friday. Raspberries. It's just a really pretty card. So we're going to be using this pattern today. And the tricky part about this card is just the cutting, but it's really not that hard. So I'm going to show you how to do that. We're going to start out with an 8.5 by 5.5 piece of cardstock and go ahead and score it. And then we have to cut a diagonal across here, and we're going to slice it down to 2 1/4 on the right. I had a little bit of a hard time the first time I cut this because I figured out this distance, but I realized that right away that made it harder to do. So what I did was I decided to measure it here, 2 1/4. Just want to make sure, yep, 2 1/4. And I'm going to make a tiny little tick mark with a pencil right there, because that's where I'm going to cut it to. So now what I do is I line up this corner right here and that little tick mark right there. And I want to make sure that it's on this side of the cutting tool. And hopefully I'll do a good job. And I'm going to use that little piece later on, and I've got a nice little cut card. At this point, I could go ahead and, I'm seeing a little extra little piece right here, so I'm going to get rid of that. Fold this back like this. You could go ahead and score it at 2 1/8, but I find it just as easy to just fold it, and then grab my bone folder and do that. So now I need to cut the pieces for here and here. I think first I'm going to put my backing on here. So I'm going to set that right in there and get that glued down. Look at how pretty both sides are. It's so hard sometimes to glue down a side that I like. But this paper is beautiful. We're already all hoping that they'll bring this paper back in the next catalog because we all love this paper. Rarely do they do that, but you never know. Since it's a COVID year, we've had all kinds of options. Now, I need to cut a piece that goes diagonally like that, and I have the measurements, It's 1 3/4 by 3 3/4, and I slice diagonally at 2 3/4. I think this one is done the opposite, we'll find out. So I'm going to measure over 2 3/4, make a little tick mark again, and then flip it like that. And this one doesn't matter so much which way you cut it. The designer series paper one, it does, because it has to go the right way, or you'll be stuck with the other side. So this one, it doesn't matter if I go to the right or the left. Okay, so that worked out real good. That fits. Now this one, we want it cut this direction, so I just have to remember that when I put that in. And this one is cut at 4 inches diagonally. So I'm going to go ahead and make my mark at 4. And then I have to just remember, I think I actually want to cut over here because I want it to come down to this end. I think that's what I want to do. We'll find out. Let's see. I'm going to look before I do that. Yep, that's what I want. I want it to come to that spot right there. I want it to come this direction so it goes down that way. So the worst that could happen is I cut it the wrong way and then I just put it on the other side. And originally I wanted that when I did this the first time, but then I really was happy that I ended up with this combination. So let's get our cardstock out. You can go ahead and glue these pieces in and let them sit while we work on all the other stuff. While I like this side, I don't know that it would have, I think it just would have been too busy. So I'm kind of glad that I ended up with just the green. I'm going to go ahead and bone folder that in place so that we might have nice crisp lines. This is going to get stamped, so I'm going to do that first, though if I mess it up, there's not much I can do. What did I do with my inks? We're using Poppy Parade and Garden Green. I just want to make sure I get it on there straight. Just take a second, take your time, and do that. I'm going to go ahead and stamp this now, get that stamped. And that's done. I'm going to stamp 2 of them right off the bat. I have a scrap piece of paper already for the one on the inside. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp. I always can't decide which one I want to stamp first. But I am going to stamp off because I think it's just a little too dark. I don't want to stamp off too much, but I want it a little bit lighter than the rest. So same thing, just lightly stamp off because I want to be able to have the same color on top and appear a lot darker. And then it's just about lining it up, which you just have to get over it to look at it. Okay, now to do the little part here, I am going to stamp it in green on here. Actually, I'm going to leave this open because we are going to be using it again. And I'm just going to use the little outline, which is right here. I'm going to stamp it directly on Garden Green. And I can't remember which direction it has to be. Hopefully I have it the right direction. If not, I'll just have to cut it. So this punch is complicated. It has different directions for everything. So I needed, of course, the opposite direction. So I'm just going to need to cut a little bit off. There. It has to go in this direction for it to work. I think the hardest part is lining it up perfectly. Once you got it, grab it quick. And then I've got that for this spot. I'm going to go ahead and glue both of those down. And then glue this to the inside of my card. And let that all sit while we work on the rest of the card. Just having a little bit of a hard time getting it to line up the way I want it. There it is. Okay. Okay. We'll put our little weight on there while it's drying. This can get punched, though what I remembered is that I have to get rid of the green paper that's in there. Just doesn't want to poke out. Sometimes that happens and you just have to pry it out. If it doesn't come out easily, you have to push it out because that just makes your life a lot more difficult when you're trying to punch other stuff. So the strawberry has to come in from this direction. And I'm going to punch out a bunch of extra stuff that I don't need, but that's okay. Just throw those away. I am going to punch out a couple little flowers, because I have 3. So I'm going to use, I think I'm going to use a scrap piece of this. Let's see if I can get 3 flowers in here. One. That's a little tight. I'm not going to push it. I have lots of paper, so I can always get another one. Paper's something I have a lot of. Now the hardest part is lining this up. Did pretty good on that one. Let's see if I can be good on all of them. That one isn't perfect. Oh, and I just remembered I wanted one that was white, so guess what? This will be the white one, because I didn't like the way that lined up. Oh, that's terrible. Well, let's try it the other way and see if I like that better. Sometimes that's easier. That's much better. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and punch these out, and they are done with this little punch. That was a celebration stamp, I think, from last year. Maybe I'm wrong, but I remember it carried over, which was something unusual. So there is hope for our paper to carry over. The hardest part about this is getting it right in there. Getting it to line up. I wanted one that was white, because really strawberry blossoms are always white, in case you didn't know that. Okay. Okay, and that one ended up on the ground, so you're not going to see this, but I am reaching down. Okay, so now I've got my flowers. I need this and this left. And I think I am going to stamp it. I just have to remember what direction it has to go in. Okay, so it has to go in like that. And then my leaf, which I'll do on a separate piece of paper. It just will be simpler. Got all extra stuff that I don't need. I'm going to throw those away. Make sure I didn't throw. Last time I threw away my leaves when I was doing that. It's a lot of punching, but punches are so fun and easy to do. So the last one now is our leaf. And that one I'm going to do the same method I did earlier. I just want to make sure I have it in the right direction. Okay, and then I'm going to stamp over it. I probably should have stamped off, but I think it'll still be okay. It's a leaf. It doesn't have to be perfect. Well, yeah, it does, but I'm going to stamp a second one just in case. I like that one better. I do like that one better. It's good for you to see how many times it takes me to stamp. A lot of people think they get it right the first time. That does not happen. So let's go ahead and punch this leaf out. So look at all the fun stuff we got to punch out. And now it's just a matter of putting our card together. So let's put everything over here. bring our card down and let's get going on putting it together. It's mostly dimensional at this point. Isn't that a pretty fold? It's such a fun fold. I'm so happy that Pam shared this card with us. I can see that it's not quite perfect how I cut it, but ooh, there's so many ways to fix that. Oh, I do have a second one that I need to punch, so I'm going to go ahead and make that one more. I forgot about that one. I'm going to use the back side of this. I need one more of these. And where did the little one go? Right here. It's so important to get right over it. It's hard because I'm worried that you're seeing my head. And I hate that when I see people's heads, but it's the only way to get it right straight. Okay, so now I have everything I need. So I'm going to put this together. So this one's a little different than this one, but I'm using that one sort of as a decorative. And since I'm a little nervous about that, I can cover up that spot that I'm not too happy with. That's a little trick that I like to use sometimes. So I am going to put a dimensional on the back of him. Like how I decided that that's a masculine strawberry right off the bat. And because it's going to go in an envelope, it doesn't matter that it hangs over a little bit. It'll be okay. But you see, by doing that, I can sort of cover up that spot that I'm not real happy with. I'm going to put some dimensionals on the back side of these guys. And I have little scrap pieces that I'm using up. I love using up little scrap pieces. That makes my dimensionals go much further. Okay, we're almost there. Just get these little pieces off. This one's being particularly stubborn today. Where's my pokey tool? The one that pulls them all off for me. That one did not want to come off. Okay. We're almost there. So now we just have to glue this guy down. Put a little glue right there. And put our flower right next to it. And this sort of fixes that little weird spot that I had. This one probably should have been down low. It didn't need to be popped up, but I decided they should all be. So there you go. There's our card. I really like how this came out better. I think that's much more strawberry-like than this one. But thanks to Pam, who did this beautiful card with a butterfly stamp set that escapes me right now. Maybe we'll do that on another day. I hope you enjoyed today's presentation, and tomorrow I will have a fast card for you. So thank you for watching. I hope you have a great and stampy day, and I'll see you tomorrow.